Hey G-Fans, GojiFan93 here, and welcome to something a little bit different. It's October, which means it's Halloween. Now normally this channel is related to kaiju/tokusatsu type of content, but I couldn't really figure out anything to do to relate to Godzilla in terms of scariness. But there has been something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. And I mean, it still has to do with monsters, but also rock and roll.
This rock band has been a long-awaited topic of conversation for me. Sure, it's not giant monsters that wreak havoc on the town, but I believe it fits for Halloween. On top of that, it's a monster rock band that can melt your face off, similar to Godzilla's atomic breath. Only in, music form. I don't know. I just love it. In honor of this month, I dedicate it to my favorite band of all time, Lordi. I'll be going through their history, introducing them, discussing their evolution, and discussing their eras, as well as sharing my thoughts on all things Lordi. Also, before we begin, it is likely that I will overlook details. I'll probably make mistakes with some information that I gathered from the internet, or I'll probably omit some information or interesting facts and details from the band's past. But that is why I'm sharing some of the best places to learn more about the band. The first place is Monster Disco Hell, which is a website I highly recommend. It provides a wealth of behind-the-scenes information and photographs. Another great resource for learning more about the band is the Monstars of Rock, the Lordi Story podcast, which I listen to on Spotify. I believe this to be the most comprehensive source of information on the band, and links are provided below. So let's get started. To begin, I would like to provide a brief overview of the band. Founded in Finland in 1992, Lordi is a rock band composed of Mr. Lordi, the lead singer and lyricist of the band, who is also its costume designer. The band is renowned for its use of monster masks and the combination of horror and pyrotechnic elements during concerts and videos. The band's sound is heavily influenced by heavy metal and hard rock music. Lordi rose to fame in 2002 with the release of their single, Would You Love a Monster Man?, and achieved success in 2006 with the release of Hard Rock Hallelujah. Since 2002, Lordi has been performing and recording regularly, and Mr. Lordi has been the only constant member in the band since its formation. The style of Lordi's music is heavily rooted in heavy metal and hard rock genres. The band's signature horror-inspired albums, the grotesque costumes worn by all the members of the band, and the grisly atmosphere of their live performances are all indicative of shock rock influences. The majority of Lordi's influences were derived from Kiss, but the band also drew inspiration from Alice Cooper, Iron Maiden, and the American rock group Twisted Sister. The band's musical style is heavily influenced by hard rock genre despite the media's perception of the band as a heavy metal group due to their monster-inspired costumes. The band's style has varied greatly over the years, with a pattern of shifting from hard rock to metal with each album released. The band's debut album, Get Heavy, featured a large portion of classic hard rock music, while their second album, The Monster It Can Dream, in 2004, saw a shift towards heavier music and the inclusion of horror effects. In 2006, the band released The Apocalypse, which was a return to hard rock. 2008's Dead Ache featured more traditional horror-influenced elements, with the band's tendency to lean more heavily into the hard rock genre. 2010's Babes for Breakfast saw a return to the band's signature hard rock sound, with an increased focus on the 1980s compared to the band's earlier albums. One of the heaviest albums of the band's career, To Beast or Not to Beast, focused entirely on heavy metal. The 2014 album Scare Force 1 incorporates elements of both heavy metal and hard rock while still maintaining a melodic rhythm. In 2016, the band released a split album titled Monsteriophonic, which is composed of two parts. The first part, Thea Terror, contains hard rock, while the second part, Demonarchy, is conceptual and much more advanced than any of the band's prior content. The members of Lordi have expressed their inspiration for their costumes to be inspired by the music of Kiss and the genre of horror. Mr. Lordi has stated that Lordi would not exist without the influence of Kiss. The creature masks and costumes used by the band are constructed from foam latex as well as other materials such as canvas, metal, and leather. All of Lordi's masks and costumes are custom made by Lordi. Mr. Lordi is an experienced professional in the field of makeup and sculpture, and thus has the necessary expertise to produce these items with ease. The members of the band each do their own makeup. The costumes and masks of the band are updated with each new album. It is estimated that the masks and costumes of their other members of the band will take approximately 1 hour to be put on. However, Mr. Lordi has stated that his masks and costumes will take 2 or 3 hours to be put on. Mr. Lordi has also stated that the materials used for the suits will cost a few €100. The monster costumes are so integral to Lordi's promotional image that the band has refused to be photographed or interviewed without them, despite the fact that in some cases this has caused discomfort for them. Lordi has conducted interviews without their masks, however, the interviews are always conducted from the back, with their faces not being visible. Previously, Lordi members had spoken only in English to the cameras during interviews, not in their native language. The stage show of Lordi is characterized by its pyrotechnic and horror elements, which are designed and largely produced by Mr. Lordi. The pyrotechnic elements are heavily influenced by the Kiss stage show, while the horror elements draw heavily from horror films, with some influences from Alice Cooper. Additionally, their stage platform is adorned with monster actors, zombie actors, dolls, practical tricks, and occasional stage dancers. In 2009, the band collaborated with the New Zealand-based Weta Workshop to create a range of new special effects. The Weta Workshop has also been involved in the design of scenery for films such as The Hobbit, King Kong, and 30 Days of Night. Mr. Lordi, the lead singer of the band, was the recipient of a new name for Lordi's Square. The square, located in the heart of the city center of Rovaniemi, Finland, which is Mr. Lordi's hometown, was named Lordi Square following the band's Eurovision victory. The name of the square was given to the band as part of the redevelopment of the city center. Following their Eurovision triumph, all members of the band at the time were honored by their hometown with tributes. They even had their own soda called Lordi Cola, which was released in September 2006. It had labels designed by Lordi, some of which featured individual band members and one with the whole band. Known as Lordi's Restaurant, was a restaurant that featured the theme of a band. It was opened in 2006 on the streets in the vicinity of Lordi Square, garnering international attention. Subsequently, the restaurant was extended to the shopping center of Rinkeli in 2008 before ceasing operations in 2011 due to the expiration of its rental contract, as well as financial difficulties in the preceding year. The band has put out 18 studio albums so far, plus 3 compilation albums with tons of music videos and hits. Now that we've covered the overview of the band's history, I'd like to look at each of the eras of the band and share my thoughts on how they've changed over the years, as well as share my own personal experience with them. So stay tuned for the next video where we'll go over every era of the band and I'll just give my opinion on them. So I'll see you in the next one.